Okay, I'd like to call our meetings to order. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We are going to change the order a little bit today of our meetings. Our President Judge is here for a matter on salary board. Has informed us that he, here at the last minute, had some changes to his schedule that will require him to be back at court pretty soon. So rather than start with the elections board meeting, I'd like us to start and we'll call to order the salary board meeting. And we will move the judge's item up from number 8 to just after the number 3 public input. So I've called the meeting to order. I'd like to announce today's salary board meeting was duly advertised in a local newspaper. Is there any public input on agenda items? Okay.
Motion is needed to increase the starting salary of the law clerk from $40,000 to $42,500 at 66 hours per pay period.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? I'll second. Your Honor, would you like to talk a little bit about the?
First of all, I'd like to thank the board.
I understand, Your Honor, you had indicated, I think you've had an open position for quite a while. It's been hard to find a candidate at the salary it was at. Was that my understanding correct?
Your Honor, I just have one question. Is it Your Honor's policy that the law clerks are still allowed to work outside of that position? In other words, have a private practice or work for another county?
My law clerks have always been full-time.
Okay.
As you know,
So as I
there
understand,
is an exception. Your Honor.
he's the exception.
He's the exception in view of some special circumstances.
Okay. Okay. And this request won't affect that particular law clerk's income, salary?
He's not at this current salary.
Okay, appreciate that, thank you.
The usual incremental increase. increases. I don't know what he currently.
You know what, can you tell us without names or?
Currently 43,712.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
There's been a motion and a second. If we could have a roll call. Oh, I'm sorry, was there?
President Judge Taylor?
Yes.
Grayson?
Yes.
Commissioner Best?
Yes.
Commissioner Chickasano?
Yes.
Chairman Shaw?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Kira? And I guess I probably should have put that one below the other one. We need a motion to approve and dispense with the reading of the minutes of the Salary Board meeting of Tuesday, June 6, 2018. Is there a motion?
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion made second on the question. This one, I don't know if we need a roll call. We'll just, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
A motion is needed to create a position of Deputy Sheriff in the Sheriff's Office effective August 8th, 2018.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? So there's a motion and a second. On the question, Sheriff, maybe you'd like to talk a little bit about the need for the request?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I think that basically this request is, you'll reflect in the next three motions, 5, 6, and 7 on the existing.
Yes.
It's all part of that change.
Yes, and if there's any questions, maybe it'd be best if anybody has questions.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Okay, so here's my question. So the first motion, number 5, is to create a position of deputy sheriff, right? Is that one of the union, that's one of the union positions? Okay, and what is the starting salary of that, please? If you, or,
$16 and
that's a full-time,
yes,
Hours is that true?
80 a pay.
then I just want to jump down to the motion number 7, to create the position of inmate transportation coordinator. Okay, at 35.
Yes,
Okay.
that is not, that's a starting salary of 35. Salary and in Act.
And that's in the,
In the public meeting, yes.
so,
That's non-union and non-management.
right. Now, in the past, and I mean before the fire burned down, okay. In the past, the way it used to work is you'd have one of your deputies was in charge of coordinating transportation, taking in transportation orders and one or more, okay, shared those responsibilities. And so those were deputies that were Act 120 certified, correct?
Act 120 and/or Act 2.
Okay. Hear me out. And I understand that there was some prison board things that we've agreed to before today. So I'm going to just throw it out as it comes to my mind, okay? Here's my thinking, is that, I have no problem identifying somebody in your office to oversee transportation and compensate them for that. And I have no problem with the person that you want to put in. My problem is that, why can't we have somebody that, or why can't this person that you want to put in that position agree to be 120 certified as well, so that we can more fully utilize this person if needed?
I wouldn't be able to,
I know you can't force them, okay? But is there a reason why you wouldn't want to have somebody that could have everything so that you could utilize them more fully?
Well, my original request was for 4 deputies.
Okay?
And basically, it got whittled down to 2 with the compromise. Working in the office. Others. So it's not.
Sheriff, this person has been working in your office the past 2 years, handling the transportation issues
Yes.
all along.
Yes.
You are actually requesting one more deputy sheriff for transportation, and in the beginning, you were asking for 4, and we have figured a way that it can be done successfully, correctly, with 1 addition.
That's correct.
The transportation person who is being transferred to your office, who has been in your office for the past 2 years, is also going to eliminate a position for the warden in the prison, because he is actually not going to fill that position, correct?
The warden had, I don't know if I should speak on that now, but the warden had.
That would be a position he's going to eliminate. So actually, we're actually only going to have 1 more extra salary.
You are.
Correct. Thank you.
So back before I was interrupted, my question is, once you have the transportation person and you only have 1 other deputy, do you still feel that you're going to be able to meet the transportation needs? Because as we know, they have to have this certification
Yes.
to be able to shuffle the prisoners back and forth. So my question is then, we're having 2 people come on board, 1 of which cannot fulfill that.
No.
And you originally asked for 4.
Yes.
So just explain to me, what do you mean 1?
Well, my ideal situation from the start was 4. It's not going to work out. I understand. Not going to be terribly. Not.
You can't transport prisoners, okay? And just hear me out. I have no problem with, you identifying someone in that office to do those transportation needs, okay? Organizing all of that. And I support the creation of that position. But my problem is you're still left, what I'm hearing is you need 4, you're getting 1 person that can.
Yes, but Deputy Andy,
Yes?
that the second,
Okay.
so there'll be, basically, I asked for 2, and in a way, I'm.
Okay. And then because they're focusing on that, you need somebody to do the desk work, as it were. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes. And I'm gonna try my best to make it.
And that's what I guess that's what I'm trying to get to, okay? I believe, it's just my belief, I'm not a sheriff. I believe, but I mean, I do have some experience in being a court administrator. I believe that you absolutely are going to need another person that can physically transport people back and forth. Okay, but I also know that you're desperate to have another body in there to free people up to do other things. I'm just saying, I'm just cautioning that because the money's tight now, and you get this extra body who can't do everything like all the Act 120 people can, that you might be cutting yourself short down the road. And I understand the personnel reasons that this person is moving around. So I'm just saying, I understand it. You're the sheriff. If you're saying that this will work for you.
I'm fairly well confident that I can make this.
Okay.
And it's easier to hire an additional person, hire someone.
The one could be somebody that already has Act 120 that you could have do both if you needed it. Like I'm just saying, and I understand the basis for what you're doing, but you hear what I'm saying,
Could be.
right?
Yes, that would be another end of the coin. But at the same token, then you're hiring on a union person with all the union. I believe in.
Well, it might not be what you need in the long run is my concern, but I understand. Thank you for answering my questions.
Anyone else?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
There are times when you will be using two staff to transport
Yes.
inmates. And is this person allowed to go on those transports so long as they're with an Act 120?
No, you won't be doing that.
Okay.
No.
Is he allowed to or not?
We've been doing it with a handshake agreement. That's it.
Warden, Sheriff, but you feel very comfortable that this will work? This is something that we've talked about at many meetings, that it will free up enough people that you'll be able to do the transportation?
Yes.
And you're, okay, that's,
Change that whole office around.
okay, I thank you.
Thank you.
Further comment? Okay, there's been a motion and a second. If we have a roll call?
Sheriff Wolf,
Yes.
Miller Grayson,
Yes.
Commissioner Best,
I have one more question, I'm sorry. I read the job description that you gave when you gave it, and that was some weeks ago. Does it leave the possibility that the person, it doesn't require them to be Act 120 certified, but you could always fill that?
That could be changed
With-
at any time.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay, then yes.
Thank you.
Commissioner Chickatano.
Yes,
Chairman Shaw.
Yes. Okay, motion passes.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Motions need to eliminate the position of Deputy Warden Programs at the Northumberland County Prison.
so moved.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded on the question. And again, as we stated, this is part of the larger scheme of, what we talked about here previously. Okay, nothing on the question. Is there, could you please take a roll call?
Miller Grayson,
Yes.
Commissioner Best,
No.
Commissioner Chickatano.
Yes,
Chairman Shaw.
Yes. Motion passes.
Motions need to create the position of Inmate Transportation Coordinator in the Sheriff's Office at a starting salary of $35,000 at 80 hours per pay period.
so moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded on the question. Roll call, please.
Miller Grayson,
Yes.
Commissioner Best,
Yes.
Commissioner Chickatano.
Yes,
Chairman Shaw.
Yes. Motion passes. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, actually, on that one, we should have had, the sheriff's vote as well.
Okay.
Sheriff, your vote on that one, that was the motion to create the position of inmate transportation, since that's in your office, so.
Yes.
Okay, yes.
On
Okay.
number 5.
I don't, he voted on 5, he didn't need to
Yes.
vote on
Yes, he
6. Yeah, he didn't need to vote on 6.
Do you vote again?
No, that's okay. Okay, motion passes. Is there any old business to come before the salary board? Any new business? Any further public input? Okay, seeing none, we'll recess to the call of the chair. And we'll go to the election board meeting, Sam, if you want.
Okay, now we'll call to order the Northumberland County Board of Elections meeting. We don't need to do the pledge. Any public input on agenda items only? Okay.
Hearing none, a motion is needed to approve and dispense with the reading of the minutes of the May 1st, 2018 Election Board meeting.
Do I have a motion
I'll make the motion.
Second.
on the question? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Motion is needed to ratify the following reports as listed on your public meeting agenda. Election Board.
Make the motion.
Second,
Second.
on the question? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
This time, is there a call for any old business? Hearing none, any new business? Any public input? Go to recess.
Okay, recess.
Okay. I'll call to order the Commissioners' public meeting. First off, we have a presentation from Stacy Anderson at CEDACOG regarding a potential KOZ project. You folks that are here regularly may recall we had a presentation like this last month regarding a similar project in Milton. This is another one.
There's actually 2 properties that are being asked, or asking the commissioners to, you've been receiving information on the resolution and everything. And this is further information on the particular properties in case you have any additional questions on the properties themselves or any benefits that are associated with the KOZ. You're pretty familiar with it. Northumberland County's had KOZs since inception of the whole program, so, but I'm here just in case you have any additional questions.
Did you want to speak?
If you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, it's Jeff Stroman, and he is involved with at least one, if not both, of the projects that she's referring to, I believe.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Commissioners, for giving me a couple minutes to give you some background on our particular KOZ request. If I could give everybody a copy, I have an information packet. I don't know if you have counsel present, but there would be one. So a little background on Moran Industries and our KOZ efforts in the past. We've done several of them like underutilized. Moran's temp. KOZ. Today. And we are gave you under the blue. Regarding this. Mr. McNeil. Base 78%. Fairly minimal. The bricks and mortar will still come out on the tax rolls at a much higher. commissioners to consider. That's a permit. That's why we're going to take this step. Parcel number 187.
Questions from the board or the audience, for that matter?
That's just thing is the
Is there any other questions or comment? Okay, I guess so. Thank you for giving that to us. I think the way we've been handling these, as I said, we had one last month with respect to Milton, is we like to take the information in. Some of this is information that some of us are hearing for the first time regarding a specific site, and potentially would be something that would be on the agenda for a yay or nay at our next meeting. So.
Just one question. Is there a deadline that's associated with your particular application?
I think your next meeting
Okay.
needs to be approved.
Same as Milton's then? Okay.
I think it's due in October.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And there's no vote to be taken on that item at this time, but
Citizens' input on agenda items only.
I'm sorry, did you want to speak to, I think Jeff kind of covered, is it part of the same?
Mine's just a highway commercial property.
Okay.
At the exit of Watsontown. And say about it.
And I apologize. I was thinking yours was the other of the smaller of the two, and it was part of a joint project. I misunderstood.
$500 a year after it would be in the
I would imagine that area with the throughway going through is going to be looked at a lot more, and it would help, certainly, so, okay. All right, thank you.
Citizens' input for agenda items only. Hearing none. A motion is needed to approve and dispense with the reading of the minutes of the Commissioners' public meeting held on Tuesday, July 10th, 2018.
motion?
So moved.
Second.
Made and second on the question. All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motions need to pay all county and liquid fuel payrolls as submitted by the Human Resource Office for payroll number 14 in the amount of $700,562.42. Payroll number 15, the amount of $681,394.51.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motions need to pay all county and liquid fuel bills as submitted by the county controller in the amount of $6,626,904.70 from July 7, 2018 to August 3, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Announcements. A work session will be held on Tuesday, August 21st, 2018, beginning at 10 a.m. in the Commissioners' Conference Room. The next regular public meeting will be held on Tuesday, September 4th, 2018, at 1 p.m. in the Public Meeting Room at the Administration Center, 399 Stadium Drive, Sunbury. The Northumberland County Courthouse, Administration Center, and related county facilities will be closed on Monday, September 3rd, 2018, in observance of the Labor Day holiday. Motion is needed for the Commissioners to sign the state tax equalization voucher for transfers of real estate for the month of June and July 2018 as submitted by the Assessment Office.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. On the question? All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion is needed to approve the employee status sheet list of new hires, individuals no longer employed, promotions, demotions, and transfers as items number 1 through 14.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
On the question? All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion is needed to approve the following reports as listed on your public meeting agenda.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion is needed to ratify the chairman's signature and a letter of support to Central Susquehanna Opportunities Incorporated, CSO, for serving individuals in poverty, along with behavioral health, child protection, and aging and criminal justice.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion is needed to ratify permission to advertise for bids for refuse hauling for Northumberland County facilities, including the prison located at the Northumberland County South Campus.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion needed authorizing the following selection of projects for the Northumberland County entitlement portion of the federal fiscal year 2018 Community Development Block Grant Program at the recommendation of the Planning Department in conjunction with CEDACOG, as listed on your public meeting agenda.
I'll first take a first and second, and then we have someone who's going to speak to this. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion first.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. This item, number 12, as well as it's 12 through 16, are all related to our block grant, community development block grant program, and Linda Sterling is here from CEDACOG to speak to that a bit.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your time. I want to In that vein,
Thank you. So we had a first and second on motion number 12 in the agenda. On the question specifically with that one? Okay. All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motions need to authorize the selection of projects for federal fiscal year 2018 Community Development Block Grant Program on behalf of the following municipalities as listed on your public meeting agenda.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motions need to approve federal fiscal year 2014 Community Development Block Grant budget revisions, moving $7,647.95 from the completed Zerby Township Schwartz Hill Road project and $250.25 from the completed removal of blighted structures project into Locust Gap Pump Station reconstruction project.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motions needed to approve federal fiscal year 2016 Community Development Block Grant budget modification, abandoning the Community Education Outreach Project in the amount of $7,000 and moving $845 into County Grant Administration and $6,155 into Locust Gap Pump Station reconstruction.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. On the question? All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motions need to approve a cooperative agreement between the Housing Authority of Northumberland County and the county for use of federal fiscal year 2016 Community Development Block Grant Funds removal of the slum blight 2016.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motions need to accept the grant and aid continuing program application for the improvement of adult probation program services for fiscal year July 1st, 2018 to June 30th, 2019 in the amount of $1,196,828 as requested by Adult Probation Chief Tim Heitzman. Ratification.
Motion.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motions need to transfer Brian Weary from the prison to the position of Inmate Transportation Coordinator in the Sheriff's Department at a salary of $40,617, which is above the starting salary for the position based upon years of experience.
So moved.
Second? I'll second. On the question? Okay. All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed.
One opposed. Motion carries.
Motion need to close the Elysburg Senior Action Center effective September 30th, 2018, per the recommendation of Area Agency on Aging Administrator Karen Leonovich.
Motion?
So moved.
Okay, is there a second? I'll second. On the question, Karen, I think you wanted to speak to this a bit.
our daycare program, with not the changes. We're back in. For costs. Have not. Between having some services. Save some money. Staff person. So that was what we're looking.
Yeah, one of the things I'd like to say as well, because I know when we had a center merging earlier in the year, there was a lot of the typical sort of political football being bandied about. That this, this topic has traditionally been used as a political football in Northumberland County. I think it prompted, as I recall, a letter to the editor from one of the former commissioners. And regarding how they stopped me, I guess, from closing down one of these centers before. And what was interesting, you brought it to my attention, and it was unfortunate that none of the newspapers bothered to pull up their own newspaper articles from the time when that occurred, is the votes were all identical with all of the commissioners for both of the votes at that time. So again, it ends up being used as a cheap political football, unfortunately, one of the many unfortunate things about it being used that way is it sometimes gets commissioners afraid to take the actions they need to address what our seniors are in fact telling us that they need. The fact that fewer seniors who qualify to go to these centers are going to them is something that is not just a trend in Northumberland County, it is nationwide, and it's because people, when they are qualified, seniors are staying much more active in their communities, and they aren't interested in going to these centers. Fewer and fewer of them are. And to the extent that there are some seniors who are interested in going to it, they are still able to go to one. In many cases, they're taking Rabbit Transit to this center now. They will now take Rabbit Transit to another center. It was interesting because there were a lot of those sort of comments and the cheap political ploys that were bandied about a few months ago when we had the Treverton Center merge into Shamokin. And what was interesting was Commissioner Chicatano and I went to a meal that they have out there, and it was several months after the merger had taken place, and there was a group of women from the Trevidan Center who asked us to eat with them at their table, and this was a group that had been portrayed as, oh, we had taken their center away, they were so upset, and we were so mean. They were very. I asked them specifically about it, because I was, frankly, a little surprised that they were asking us to eat with them, because at least some people were saying that they were all very angry at us at what they did. They were all very happy with it. Now, that's not to say that every single person at the Trevidan Center, there's a lot of people, they become attached to a specific place, and that's where they would have liked to have seen it go. But they all understood, and frankly, they expressed, as seniors, a disdain for the fact that some people use this as a political football and use them essentially in that way, because they understand that there are people within their senior community who need these in-home services, that they aren't seeing people come in as much as they were before, and now they're part of a larger community. I mean, that room was packed, which made for a much more vibrant community experience for the people from both centers. And it was just interesting that, they see it for what it is when those sort of tactics get used, and they frankly don't appreciate it because they're not stupid. They understand when they're being used. They understand when someone's doing that. And they fully understand as people who also pay taxes and who have people who have children or grandchildren in the county who pay taxes, the reason why you have to utilize the monies we get from the state in the appropriate fashion. You address the actual needs, and what they are telling us with their feet, by virtue of the fact that they don't come to these centers, is that isn't what their need is, and they would prefer that people be getting the in-home services for people who have now become homebound, unfortunately. So that was it was very affirming, I think, for me, because that is what I had always suspected. And in talking with you about, when your agency is making these recommendations, and that's why, there's a certain amount of money we get from the state. It's up to us to have the courage to make the decisions and not worry about that kind of superfluous stuff that goes on in in terms of how it gets used, but to make the decision to utilize the funds we get from the state in the way that helps the most people. And so.
I have a few questions, if I may. Are you finished? Yes. Okay. And by all means, this isn't political. This is out of sincere concern. When you came to us, I believe it was last month, and said that this is what was intending to be done, you handed us a bunch of documents. And on those documents, you had laid out for us different counties, what their budget was and how many centers they had. Okay? It was a little misleading because the budget amount that you had there wasn't distributed just to the centers, right? It's to their overall, okay. And that overall total is decided how to be spent by you, right? Like how it gets disseminated. Right. Right. Well, to be clear, what stood out to me was different than what stood out to you, okay? What stood out to you, you made a comment about one of the counties having a higher budget with fewer centers. What stood out to me were that there were counties that had half of what we have with twice as many centers, okay? Now, a couple of other comments that I have. I feel very strongly about human services. It is our #1 responsibility as a commissioner is to oversee our mandated services, okay? and see that we are listening to what they are saying, okay? And I believe that you're doing the best of your ability, but here's some things that bothered me with the presentation about management and decision-making. I believe you had said in the letter that we haven't looked at the rent or had a conversation with the landlord in how many years? Since 2000? 2000, okay. And we're paying 6,000? $650 a month, okay. And that was originally for how many days a week? 5 days a week, okay. And we're down to how many days a week now?
Now to.
Okay. And nobody bothered since 2000 to contact the landlord and say, hey, you know what? We're using this 2 days a week now rather than 5. So we think we should only be paying $250 rather than $650. And by the way, we're being squeezed by the state, so this is a take it or leave it situation. And I guess that bothers me, because if you do the math from year 2000 and now we're in 2018 crying that there's a shortage of money, what have we done to try to stop that bleeding? That's one comment that I'm going to make, okay? The other comment was, I believe in the letter, it was estimated that we would save like $9,000. Okay, now you're telling me $21,000.
Combined with the Trevor merger, 9,000 from the.
Okay, well, that wasn't exactly clear. So we're saving $9,000 is what you're telling me we're saving. And when you say we're saving, who's we? Because the state gives us the money, okay? We manage it and we distribute it. Who's saving $9,000?
It's a savings that will be redistributed back into.
From state funds?
Yes.
Okay, so we, the general fund, are not saving a dime. We're not getting a dime. You're just recouping it and redistributing it. Okay, so I just want to be very clear. So to me, what this comes down to isn't a political football. It isn't a crisis. It isn't that we need to save or we're going to recoup $21,000 in general fund. It's a matter of priorities. It's a matter of where your priorities lie. Now, I respect where you folks think that your priorities lie. And if you want to tell me that more seniors are active and we don't need to do this and we can distribute it for, I think I read, handbars and potty seats when my own father's is picked up through Medicare, then, you know, I guess that's a priority. And I am not here to say one decision is any better or any worse than another. But what I am here to say is to clarify for people that you're telling them that we're going to save $21,000, there's nothing that we could have done about it, and, you know, this is the situation. To me, that's just not honest. And that's not a political football, that is priorities. And that's just an opinion, okay? And none of those numbers that I told you can be refuted. So when I looked at, I think it was at Blair County, I don't know, one of them had a $2.5 million budget and twice as many centers that we have. We have $4.5 million and we're closing them left and right, okay? So it's not just they're more active, they don't want this, we need handbars and potty seats. It's that what are we not doing to reach our seniors, and where are we going to spend the money? So I just want to clarify for everybody that that's my position before we leave this room and it's, you know, a political football.
I can let you know that the general fund doesn't contribute to. To the church. They actually are not.
Karen, and those senior centers in the other counties that are they, do we know what the participation numbers are for those?
They're roughly ours. I can tell you, though, that the county, half of the county, the counties,
I myself have attended the Shamokin Trevorton Jointure several times to eat there before the Trevorton Jointure and after. I am a senior citizen. I know most of the people there. I have never heard one senior citizen while I was there come over and say anything negative about the jointure. I think it's more vibrant as far as participation. I know also that the Elysburg Center, which I was never at, since I know a lot of the seniors there, what hurts them is the development of a brand new Sheetz, a McDonald's, and a Burger King that are right there. The seniors go there because I've been invited for breakfast almost every morning. I know many of them. So I think they have places to go, and that's probably why they weren't using the center. That McDonald's, Sheetz, Burger King, triangle there is a big meeting place in the morning. And, that I know those things because I know those people. I have never heard anyone or no one has ever called me and said a negative thing about. I think it is true. The seniors nowadays, we're living longer. I'm a senior citizen. I'm coaching. I'm doing things yet. I think a lot of them, our weight coach is 80 years old. They're out doing things, and that's a good thing. So, I just wanted to express the things I know about the people that are going in Elysburg to these other places and meeting in the morning, and the Shamokin Trevorton Jointure that I've been part of and been going to.
The one thing I just want to point out is, and Commissioner Best made a good point, which you elaborate on, which is that it isn't general fund monies that are involved in this program, so savings go to the benefit of other seniors, which I don't think that anything other than that was implied from what you originally said. But I do seem to recall that at the last center, that when we merged, a statement was made in this meeting room that that had to do with priorities being messed up, that it was because we were spending money, which would have been general fund money, on things like building new prisons and so forth. It would be interesting, going back to the minutes, to see who made that statement at that time. But at any rate.
Again, there are counties that do contribute. So, right, Karen? I mean, they do. So if there's a shortfall, some of the commissioners will prioritize it. And I'm not here to denigrate your choice. I'm here to point out that you don't need to denigrate others when they don't have the same priorities as you do. So I'm simply saying some counties, some commissioners prioritize that and they contribute to it so that they can keep them afloat. Others do not. Some counties, they privatize it because, in all honesty, I had a long conversation where Karen educated me on some of the frustrations she has. She's restricted by what she can do with the state. And what I mean by that is, and here's, you want to talk about priorities, it's over 80% of the money goes to staffing and leases and food, and very little of it goes to the seniors themselves. And that's no fault of the three of us, and that's no fault of Karen. But what I'm saying is, if you have the state saying every manager needs to make, what was it, $40,000, okay? And let's say I manage a center that has 5 seniors, right? And in the same county, I have another manager that they're under union, so she's mandated to pay this other manager $40,000, and they manage 25 people. Okay? Now, there's something really wrong with that she has no ability to say, we need one manager for these 2 centers. and the manager works at home and orders food and doesn't physically have to be there every day. So, I ask her, why can't you have one manager that manages Elysburg and Shamokin? Okay, so that the total amount of people that you manage is the same and we don't have to displace seniors, right? But she explained to me that she had no flexibility to do that. And isn't that a shame when 80% of your tax dollars is going to management and all of this type of thing, and very little ends up going to the seniors? That just seemed upside down to me, and that's through no fault of this board, and that's through no fault of her. But I'm just saying that, to me, this is just mismanagement from the top all the way down. A lot of money going to very little, and we're supposed to either come up with the difference or shortchange our seniors, or come up with reasons why we're really not doing that, or denigrate somebody that thinks that these priorities are not upside down. Okay? I think it's okay for me to tell you what I think is wrong about it. I met with my state representative about it. I think that this is upside down, and I'm not denigrating anybody on this board, but my priority is to listen to the seniors, and we wouldn't have to displace them at all. We could have one manager manage X amount of seniors in 2 locations that they can handle that and accommodate that. So, and I shared that with you myself. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
And I would only add that I don't feel it's denigrating people to hold them accountable to statements that they make. And when they make statements, as were in the letters, the other that were documented, can be documented as untrue, as well as some of the other statements, to hold people accountable. And I'll continue to do it. So there's been a motion and a second. Anything further on the question? All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Opposed.
One opposed. Motion carries. You're welcome. Thank you. The next item before we have the motion, this is a motion to approve some honorary letters. We have one that I would like to single out here and read to everybody, as it involves one of our own who we have near and dear to our heart, and someone near and dear to his. This is a letter to Mr. and Mrs. Kropf, who are sitting with us today. The Commissioners of Northumberland County are pleased to offer their congratulations on the occasion of your 50th wedding anniversary. Whereas fulfilling 50 years of marriage is a marvelous achievement and serves as an inspiration to all citizens, an anniversary is a celebration of life and love and many special memories. May your day be special for both of you, and may joy and happiness be with you all through the years. Again, our warmest wishes and congratulations on the celebration of your 50th wedding anniversary. Tom and Kropf and his wife are here, and if you would like, Tom, I don't know if you'd like to get a picture. You've brought your beautiful wife in here today, and I understand this is a surprise, so we ought to have a picture maybe to commemorate the occasion. We're giving her a gold medal for putting up with this guy. Yeah. As well. She gets that in addition.
Hello, everybody.
I told her, this was set up back when I worked one day, a couple months ago. Show up. Deputies were coming. You're here.
Motion is needed to approve the following honorary letters. Anniversaries, Mr. and Mrs. Raymond Scott, Mount Carmel, 50th wedding anniversary. Mr. and Mrs. Thomas Croft, Northumberland, 50th wedding anniversary. And Mr. and Mrs. Robert Michael, Mount Carmel, 60th wedding anniversary.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion is needed authorizing travel requests and attendance at the following workshops, seminars, as in accordance with the county's personnel manual travel and reimbursement policy, as listed on your public meeting agenda.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. For the,
Do the solicitor's report.
oh, you want, okay.
Yeah, he's had to leave for
Yep.
a hearing. A, motion to adopt Resolution R58-18, amendment to contract between Northumberland County Commissioners on behalf of weatherization and Green Kite to increase QCI inspection prices from $575 to $650 ratification.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
I just have a question, second. Is this the one that's like Philadelphia or Pittsburgh or somewhere like that? Does anybody know? No? This is more local?
Believe they're out of the Higgins area or something like that.
Okay. Because, I mean, then it'll balance out, because the one that we were paying, I think it seems somewhat less on paper. They charged us from the time they left, like, Philly or wherever it was from in,
They stopped performing QCI work,
Okay.
that company, so
altogether.
altogether.
Okay.
Correct. So weatherization had to obviously find some. They are time sensitive because we can't, as a county,
Right.
inspect
We
it.
can't get reimbursed. Right.
So we have to have somebody.
Okay.
To do QC.
Make
Okay.
sure that we can get them all done
Make
by
sure
the
we get them all
deadline.
done by, because we're in crunch time on a deadline right now.
Okay, thank you.
Anything further on the question?
You don't have a set.
Oh, did we not, we didn't, okay. Is there a motion? We have a
Made
motion.
the motion.
Is there a second?
We had a
Did you say,
second.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
I didn't know
Yeah.
if there was something.
Okay. All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to adopt Resolution R59-18, professional services agreement between the Board of Commissioners on behalf of the prison and Beacon Software Solutions for the Inmate Information Management System, ratification.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to adopt Resolution R60-18, emergency response service agreement between the County of Northumberland on behalf of the Department of Public Safety and Montour County for the purpose of Northumberland County to act as Montour County's certified hazardous materials response team to remain in compliance with Section 209E of Act 1990-165.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to adopt Resolution R61-18, cooperative agreement between the Commissioners of Northumberland County on behalf of the Planning Department and the Housing Authority of Northumberland County for federal fiscal year 2016 Community Development Block Grant funding for demolition of blighted properties.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to adopt Resolution R62-18, professional service contract between Northumberland County Board of Commissioners and Catino Associates Incorporated for the preparation of design phases for remodeling existing building for a district justice office located at 45 Locust Street, Milton, Pennsylvania.
So moved.
Is there a second? I'll make the second. On the question,
Does anybody know the total that we paid him when when these two decided they were gonna build it from the ground up? I think we paid Mr. Catino's firm something to develop plans.
no, it's significantly less than what the reduction in the cost of the project is going to be. Obviously, that's why we're going this direction. So,
It's $15,000.
15.
yeah. So after this very significant savings and going this direction, that would be absorbed into that. We'll still end up spending quite a bit less.
Well, and his bill, his invoice is much less than what he would have been eligible to receive in the previous contract.
True.
Thank you.
Okay, there was a motion and a second. Is all in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Opposed.
One opposed, motion carries.
Motion to adopt Resolution R63-18, Professional and Technical Services Agreement between the County of Northumberland on behalf of weatherization and CETA Council of Governments to provide quality control inspection, QCI as needed, ratification.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? All in favor, state aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to adopt Resolution R64-18, resolution to authorize, subject to approval by the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development, DCED, the application to have certain parcels currently zoned commercial and industrial located in the borough of Milton as set forth in the attached being not less than 10 nor more than 375 acres to be designated as Keystone Opportunity Expansion Zone, KOEZ, with an exemption from certain taxation as set forth in the attached for a period beginning January 1st, 2019 and continuing through December 31st, 2028.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made second on the question. TJ, I don't know if you had anything further. I mean, you gave a fairly extensive presentation on it last month, so if anybody else has anything further? All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to adopt Resolution R65-18, Commissioners' Budget Amendments as listed.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
I'll make the second. On the question? All right. All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Abstain.
One abstention. Motion carries.
Motion to adopt Resolution R66-18, Agreements, Amendments, Revisions, Grants, Leases, Reports between the Northumberland County Commissioners on behalf of Human, Senior, and Social Services and the named service provider as listed on your public meeting agenda. The above agreements, amendments, revisions, grants, leases, and reports are not with county employees, nor does this organizational contract list county employees as principals in their corporation or on their board of directors, with the exceptions of contract number 6, 7, 8, and 9, Kimberly M. Carpenter, Tiana Deontay Cabalas, Lisa Marie Musser, and Melissa Ann Sugert, who are current employees in Northumberland County Children and Youth Services.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
On the question? All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
At this point, a call for any old business.
I have some things. Just a couple things. Last meeting, the Milton Magistrate Office was brought up, and afterwards there was no one called me about my opinion on it, and I actually, during our work session, one of our citizens who comes to the work session asked me, and I explained it to him, and he mentioned, we should explain this at the meeting, so I'm going to do that right now. Let me go back to about 1 year and 4 months ago when the company who we now rent the district magistrate's office from, lease was running out, and they met with us up there to make a proposal for a new lease and remodeling of what was there now. At that time, the commissioners were invited to go up and meet with this company. Rick and myself went up. We had a tour of the building. We had questions on the renovations, and they answered our questions and basically later forwarded options for us to continue the lease. At that time, we were paying $1,300 a month rent. And their first proposal that they gave was remodeling and buying a small building right next that was attached to the magistrate's office and remodeling it. Their first proposal gave the county the cost of the $100,000 remodel. So what they were asking was the county pay the $100,000 remodel, and then they were going to raise our rent after we paid the $100,000 remodel from $1,300 to $2,500, and during the term of the lease, it would continue to rise up until the last year when we would be paying $3,425 a month rent. At the end of this lease, that company would have received $634,483. And the building would have been theirs, and we would have had, at that time, whoever was here would have had to made another lease, so forth. When we heard about that, we felt we could go in another direction. I know, Tommy, I asked you about looking for properties up there at that time, and Tommy was looking, but we really couldn't find any properties that were suitable. So we did go back to them, and they gave us some other options where they said we wouldn't have to put up the $100,000, but they would increase the rent from $1,300 to $3,300, and that would continue for the term of the lease to where it was over $4,000 at the end of the lease. And we would have in there for rent over that lease term $678,780. So looking at those two proposals, we met with the Housing Authority. We looked into properties. We found something that we thought was feasible. We met with Mr. Deal, the district magistrate, who was on board and wanted to get out where he was, and we basically found a property the Housing Authority had near the Senior Citizen Center that we started to do architectural work to build a new magistrate's office there, which would have needed a parking lot in the building and the whole 9 yards. That's where Mr. Catino's cost came in. He worked on the design, which we met many times, maybe 10 times, 15 times with the architect, with Mr. Deal, with other people from up there. And it was going to cost somewhere between $400,000 and $500,000 to build this, which would have been still a savings of about $250,000 or about $150,000, depending on what proposal you looked at. And at the end of that time, we would have owned the building and never had to pay again after the loan. But then, in the meantime, a few months ago, Mr. Deal, who was up there, found this property that he said was ideal, that had a parking lot, that had different entrances, that I both went up with Mary Rose to see. I think Rick was up also to see it. We had our Mr. Zawicki to check it out. We had some people check it out.
Mr. Catino?
And Mr. Catino to check it out. And we made an offer of $130,000, and they accepted the offer. We will need to put, after it's purchased, probably somewhere between $70,000 and $100,000 into the building, just for the fact that it's an open floor plan and they need to make walls for the courtrooms and ceilings. But basically, the building and everything is there, the parking lot is there, everything is there. So we're talking probably somewhere around $200,000 investment. And if we would subtract that, it's a savings of almost $500,000. And after it's paid, we will never have to pay any kind of rental fee or loan fee again. So it was, to me, a no-brainer, saving the taxpayers close to $500,000 by making this contract, by going from proposed building a new building to this building that was already done with a brand new roof, with a parking lot already made, and which the district magistrate felt very comfortable and very satisfied with the building. That is the reason that we have went in this direction. And I think it's, again, a no-brainer not to do that. And I just wanted to make sure everybody was aware. I know, again, the papers never came to me and asked, and I would have got this information from them, and I can give this information from them at the end of the meeting. I have another.
Okay.
You want to talk about?
No. Okay.
My second thing I'd like to bring up is, first, I'd like to congratulate the Medical Grow company that was awarded the permits and to build up on our complex. Everything works out. The 10 acres is on the top of the complex. It basically is a building that's a quarter mile away from our prison. It's a building is a big basketball court, basically, that we really had no use for, except that my plan was to have the guards take some of the inmates up there to work on our vehicles, as far as waxing and washing vehicles. It's the corner end of the property. At no time was any of that property, the 10 acres, and the 3 buildings that basically are going to be torn down, the barracks, which will just be torn down because they need repair. At no time was any of that property ever suggested to be used as a 911 project center. That 911 project
building that was discussed long time ago was a building that is still on our campus. It wasn't ever looked into, basically because the cost of moving all the equipment from our present 911 center up there is extraordinary, and we have looked into that. But it doesn't say that somewhere down the line, if there's a regional 911 center or something where we would come together, we still own, if I'm correct, 506 acres up there. There's plenty of room. The building's actually still there. That will be the only building that will be empty. So if ever in the future, any kind of project where we would need land to build a 911 center or anything else that the county might need, that land is there and it's accessible. And I just wanted to make those 2 points clear.
Any further old business? Any new business? And any public input? Linda? Yep.
I'm sorry, I forgot to mention something. I should let the public know.
Thank you, Linda. Have your hand up or stretching, Bob? Is that okay? Okay, I saw some movement over there. I just want to make sure I got you if you were, okay. If there's no further public input, I'll make a motion to adjourn. We're adjourned.